Guys, Will coming at you. If you haven't seen the first video to this, I highly recommend it, and then you know why I got this, what's going on. We're gonna get right into it. We are looking at the brand new Men-at-Arms or Crusaders box. So here we go. This is the brand new box that just came out. Now there is probably an alternative print of this that shows the Men-at-Arms that says can also make Crusaders, but this is the new box, the one that everyone's gonna be looking at, the Crusaders for 100 Kingdoms. Back here we can see some models and some stuff in a description. So for those who may know a little bit about Conquest, or maybe you're interested in it and you're wondering why these guys are a thing, one, you can't really do a medieval setting without Crusaders. That's just kind of have to do that. But in the lore, they don't do anything in the game, they don't release models or factions without making sure it fits naturally into the lore. So how the 100 Kingdoms works, the TLDR, is humanity fucked up and we were split into multiple nations and things are just going slowly bad for us. Kind of like Cities of Sigmar, but not like you step outside and your soul is sucked out of you from some demon thing, or the ground eats you, or 1,000 ways to die in the West style, like your life is shit, why do you want to live in the freaking 41st millennium? This is more like your darker old school D&D like fantasy D&D game. It's all those horrible things out there can happen, but it's very unlikely, and when it's a rare thing, it is something huge and like noteworthy. In that instance, humanity has been kind of on the back pedal, and with how the lore was going and how people are writing the story, which the players get to vote on. Go do that. Vote for your stories if you play Conquest. If not, you can read it, and they're going to be printing a new lore book that's going to be coming out that I'm going to get, and it's going to have all the lore. Anyways, that's been going on. And at some point in the lore, something shit goes really down, which causes this spark to ignite all this faith from the one church. There's two. There's Decius and Theseus, or Theseus, whatever you want to say. I say Theseus. I think it is Theseus, but I say Theseus. Tomato, tomato. A spark happened which caused a huge boom of holy energy to go out, in things like the Archangel Cathedral started coming to life. The belief and faith basically was like a beacon in the dark, and thus made the calling for the church to finally get enough like, hey, see, God says we should be a thing. They're finally allowed to get power again, and this is their infantry. So there is two factions, and they're doing this for all the factions in the game. At least everyone's going to get at least two factions. So you could play the feudal side of 100 Kingdoms, which is the side that I like. That's where you have your archers, your knights, your orders, like Order of the Ashidon, Order of the Crimson Tower, and stuff like that. You can get your mishmash of dudes. Or you can have your Theseus, your church side, which is, right for now, is a little lackluster. Like, there's only 3 or 4 models you can take. But they hit well above their point, their power level. So Crusaders are a freaking Men-at-Arms on crack. They're very good. Highly recommend them. And they just look really good. So we're going to take a look. We're going to open this up, and then we're going to look at the sprues, and then we're going to look at them built and primed. I'm also going to show off, I have a box here of the original Men-at-Arms, which I don't know if the sale's still going on right now. But as of now, on their website, they're $19.99 or $19.95 USD. And of course, if you use code Conquest10, isn't my personal code, it's just the generic one. Or your favorite content creators discount code, it will take 10% off of that. So I got these guys for basically like 15 bucks American, something like that, some really outrageous number. So I got a bunch of these. Because in my opinion, these, and I'll do a quick opinion, in the end I'll have a full. I think these are one of my favorite model kits ever made in any game. And I'll get into that more detail why later. But let's get right into it. Let's open this up. Ignore the dinosaur in the background, that's next video. If you haven't opened one of these before, or if you have opened one of these before, it will look very similar in how the layout is. They're starting to do something I've noticed that Warlord Games does, and I'm kind of on the fence about this. I don't know how I feel, because Warlord Games has the same thing. Why I like and dislike it is, if you don't know historicals, you're going to get lost in the sauce. You're going to make things wrong without reading your army books and stuff, which you should kind of do anyways. No matter what game you play, you should kind of read loadouts or equipment pages. You know, you should read about your army, how the units and models should be built if you care about that sort of thing. If you just want to make cool shit, then go for it. But I liked the old Conquest sprues because they actually had the sprues kind of like traditional. Because I think some of the designers were from 40K or Games Workshop, or at least did commission work for them. The sprues were all different, and you basically couldn't make duplicates without really trying. But now, as we got our bases here, they're starting to do the Warlord in the sense that all the sprues are the same in this box. There's 3 identical sprues in a box. Now, as of now, they're not as bad to mess up. They're actually not that hard to do with these guys. They're very easy to build. And the benefit of having multiple same sprues is that they can either do, and especially on a business side, it's very easy to give away sprues. You can make box sets. You just print a bajillion of these and then you just take them from the shelf, put them into the box they need. You don't have to worry about having like sprue A.1 and A.2, so on and so forth. And of course, as a person who's a hobbyist, if you lose a little piece off here, you have multiple bits to give to people or to replace the one you lost. So we'll get into those here shortly. And of course, in the bottom, we have our instruction manual, which will show you how to make, I know it's kind of blurry, but we'll show you how to make both Men-at-Arms and Crusaders. I will say, whoever made this instruction manual, unless I was just really tired at the time, and I get dyslexic or number dyslexic when I'm really tired, and the numbers on the sprue is not the same one here. There is a bit of bits on here that tells, especially if you're building the Crusader, there's a bunch of the bits on here that are not numbered correctly. So do keep an eye on that. But again, this set is very simplistic in its setting. All pieces can be mishmashed, so as long as you match the theme to what you want to build, which I will show you on the sprue here. And of course, because you can do both, they give you both cards. So I will need more Crusader cards. I don't need more Men-at-Arms cards. I got a bunch already. But anywho, okay. So as long as you keep the pieces kind of similar to what they are, so the bodies are all shared, you have your swords and your scabbards. So if you want to do Crusaders, keep all the things that have chainmail on it together. So chainmail arms, and of course this is your Crusader banner. This is your Men-at-Arms banner top. You know, more of that. The swords and stuff. Where is it? Flail, arms and stuff. Flail arms, weapon arm, mace arms. So the maces and flails go to the Crusaders. The swords go to the Men-at-Arms. And if you want to do Men-at-Arms, you keep the padded stuff. So rounded shoulder pads, swords, and the sleeved arms for shields and banners. Of course, you have your multiple helmets here, Men-at-Arms helmets, and then of course the Crusader helmets. We'll kind of flip around so you can see some faces. The face detail on these are really crisp. I really like them. They also have new ones that are covered, so they have like bandanas over their faces and stuff so they don't like cough up dirt and things, breathe up dirt, like open faces. Same with your helmets here. There's an open face helmet on each sprue. That's supposed to be for your banner or your commander of the unit. And what I really like about these helmets is, and your banner, you get 3 of them because they're all the same sprue. But I really like the Crusader helmets in these new sets because they are hollow on the inside. So if, say, you wanted to have the helmet on the ground as a train piece, like scattered on basing material, or if you, like I did with my sergeant of the unit, where I have the helmet hanging off of a strap, and I have an alternate head on that's exposed, you just cut the neck joint off here, and you use a drill. You go a few little millimeters in, and it's hollow, or it's really soft plastic, and you can easily just clean it out. So I really like that about the helmets. But besides that, you get the exact same sprue 3 times. And see, pieces already easily fall out. That's the sprues. We're gonna go and build this. But but we're gonna actually take a close eye here and I will show you the difference before I do that. So, box right here, push that shit out of the way. But we have our bases. So again, this was made back in the old days, so they're not gonna have the magnetic bases. The new stuff have them. So the magnetic bases is just, they have the holes pre-made so you can magnetize both the base and the models so that the magnets sit together. You don't have to worry about lining them up. Though, if you want to use a magnetic tray, you will have to use a taller magnet because it is designed to fit flush to sit magnet to magnet on the tray, and then you use a normal foam case. You can use a taller magnet, you just got to be a little bit more, if you don't care about the basing and stuff. I can get into that later. But anyways, your modern bases, trays if you need them. If not, and you're playing First Blood, you can give them away. Your actual bases that you need. You have your card, which they give it to you in a little baggie back in the old days to protect it. Nowadays, they just kind of like throw it in there. And then this is what I was talking about, having different sprues. So as you can see, this one is definitely a lot older. It's not that square, you know, from a machine. This is definitely an old school, you build the mold and the machine just fills it 3D print style. Because you can see where there's lines, where there's layer lines basically from where the mold was being poured into. And there's 2 of these sprues on there. You can see very basic, very, very impossible to mess up. It's literally 2 arms, put the torso on the legs, give them the shield. It is basic bitch as you can go. And I kind of like that. It's got that guardsman feel to it. And your command sprue is literally this. And this is what I was talking about, having it separate so you can not mess up. But again, makes it a little more difficult to do multiple boxes, you know, adds time to it. Whereas if you make just the one sprue that holds everything at once, you can give this away in magazines. You can put them into multiple different boxes without worrying about having the different versions. And if, say, you're somebody who's buying a box set like the new starter set and you wanted Men-at-Arms, they're just going to throw these exact sprues in there anyways, so you can just build alternate versions. And that in itself is a benefit. So to me, both these, and of course, like, look at the size difference. It's longer. It's longer and it's a little slightly wider. But to me, both of these are a valuable, they're both worth their value, especially since these are now like $20 each. Whereas these are more like the $40, $50 bucks, you know, up to more modern day pricing of models. They're both really good. And the reason why I really love these models, and now I can get into it, is when new ranges get done, especially Cough Cough Games Workshop and Primaris, a lot of those old models, usually when you look at them compared to the new stuff, is either so outdated or so slightly different that it's basically just more worth it. Or especially like Metal Sisters of Battle versus Plastic Sisters, such a huge difference and change that you're basically either you're stuck playing your old stuff and you don't buy anything new. Maybe you buy 1 or 2 new things, like a vehicle to paint up and use, or a walker or a character to have on the side as display piece, or you have to toss out all those old models, especially if you're playing with, you know, in tournament scenes or with local game store. Me and my friends, we don't care. You feel like you want to toss out the old stuff to buy a brand new line of the new things, and you got to redo all your painting, all that stuff. Whoever developed these models did really well, because when I look at these 2 models side by side built, I can kind of like, from like up close, yeah, I can tell one's slightly a little bit more aged. From a distance and looking at them and the feel of them, their thematicnism to them, the theme to them, they feel the same. And I haven't ever found a company that's done that, where they've taken their old models and made it so that they fit well with the new stuff. They don't look out of place. They feel the same. Both are awesome. Both look great. And I'm happy with both. So we're going to get into it. We're going to go build these and we're going to put them side by side, and we'll do our outro there and our final thoughts. We will see you guys there. There you go, guys. We have the models all built. Now I've just got to stand one of each so you guys can kind of see the differences. Though I don't have a flag. I didn't build a flag for my Men-at-Arms. As you can see side by side, the Crusaders are a little bit taller. That's because they're more standing up, whereas a bunch of the Men-at-Arms models are more crouched over. But as you can see there, standing from a distance, they don't seem too out of place. Like, they look pretty good, but there is definitely a definition quality increase. So now if I have one that's more kind of like the same sort of pose versus the old versus the new. So here we have them side by side, the old on the right and the new on the left, and they're not that quite different. Now if you like the more Romany padding on the bottom, you might like the old guys better. But if you want the more updated, like moving through history, we have the shield and we have this body. So that is the major differences between them, along with your flag and your commanders and what have you. Well, let's get to the ending of this video. But yeah, with that, guys, sorry making this end of the video kind of last minute. I forgot to actually film the outro of me sitting at the thing. I would have been more clean and shaven too. But anyways, but yeah, thank you guys for watching this video so much. This is the end of it. Hopefully you guys like it. Watching the editing stuff, some things I do want to kind of touch up, but my thought still stands on it, saying that putting these two, it's not as a huge difference. If I put these two together on the field, people will know that they're men-at-arms. They're the same scale. The only thing that's going to look different again is these will have a slightly little bit more detail. So it's basically, again, looking at like two sub-factions. So this is like your more feudal, the guys who are, you know, maybe militia. They've been hired by the king, or they're actually part of the king's military. And then these guys are more your militia guys, more well off. You know, they have a different flavor, but they don't, both boxes are worth it to me. Like they don't pull away from the immersion if I was to play with both of them. Rambling too on. So I just wanted to touch up on that, come in here at the end and talk about that. And again, doesn't change my mind on how I feel about these. I still think the best way how they did it to make it that your old collection is not, you know, just trash. So, would I recommend buying these over this? If you're starting fresh, and especially if you're getting the starter army, I would highly recommend these over it. Whereas if you're a person who just likes mash, sword, and boards, and you want to get a bunch of them, get these guys. They're just as good. You can mix and match pieces from them. They don't stand out too much. And I like the huge shields that these guys have over the tinier ones that these guys have. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. We will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. Click the video. Click it. Click the video. You know you want to. Click it.